live chat. All messages are visible. I gotta have that on. What's up, guys? Welcome back. My name is JonJonTheWise, and you probably already know that because you're watching me live. It is Monday. We are back at it again. Another week of love, cyberpunk, hobbying, and full time jobs. And yeah, so hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Before we get into it, you know the spiel. Join the Discord community. The link will be in the description below. Make sure you guys join that community if you want to be part of something amazing, a great Discord community, which is growing. And so far, it's been growing, and the positivity has been growing too. It's been great. ABDG. What's up, players? Good to see you guys. Um, yeah, what else? Tabletop Cyberpunk podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to that. Mr. Fogel, good to see you. And make sure you guys join that Patreon if you want to show some support to your boy John the Wise. Patreon.com/John the Wise. That is the best way to support me. And I really, really appreciate it. You patrons are awesome. Let me lean back a little bit so I can be cool. What's up, Steven? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Missed you too, and I'm glad you're busy. Being busy is good. Last thing, follow me on social media at JonJonTheWise. I'm on all the social media. Connect with me. That's how you get updates about what's going on. Good to see you, JD. How you doing? Welcome, everybody. Well, I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Looks like the Kickstarter for Combat Zone is done, and they're just trying to figure out everything. I talked to John Kovalevsky, and he's like, yeah, now the real work begins as they get all the molds done and they get all the minis done and they send them out to people, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. There's going to be a tabletop simulator version of that. You can expect us to be doing online tournaments, offline tournaments, battle reports, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be fun, man. Other than that, sorry that I haven't had a tabletop cyberpunk episode out recently. It's just been really hectic. I haven't really found time to record, but there will be one soon. I'm gonna be on the video chat with James Hutt tonight. We're gonna be talking. We're gonna be starting episode 1 of our new show, Night City Council, which is going to be a show. Half of it is going to be answering questions from the community, and then the other half is going to be showcasing cool stuff from Martel Sorian. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They pretty much told me that the DLCs that they let out, like, I don't think it gets out to everybody, and they don't really know about the DLCs. But there's actually been like, I think like 5 to 7 different DLCs, maybe 5, for Cyberpunk Red. What's up, Roland? Good to see you, man. Good morning to you as well. But yeah, other than that, not much. My weekend was pretty cool. On Saturday, I got to chill, watch the kid, and the wife went to brunch, as wives do. And on Sunday, I had scheduled 2 weeks in advance. Stephen S. Hey, John. I hope you're good. Hype for Night City Council with Mayor Hutt. Me too, man. Me too. Thank you so much. Good, glad to have you here. But yeah, Sunday at 11 a.m. at my local FLGS, which is redundant. It should just be FLGS because it's Friendly Local Gaming Store, fully licensed gaming shop. Anyway, I had scheduled a table for us to play some Warhammer 40K. It would have been the first time I've ever used my army in person. I've only played on Tabletop Simulator. This is a buddy that I knew from high school. And basically 2 weeks prior, maybe 3 weeks prior, I had come into contact with him just to see how he's doing. Because, you know, if you don't pick up the phone and call your friends, you'll never know what's going on with them. That's what I've learned in life. And even if you don't know what to say, sometimes just making the phone call is worth everything, you know? So I've been trying to make it like a conscious decision to pick up the phone, call my friends that I care about, even if I care about them slightly, see how they're doing, and talk to them and try to schedule like a lunch or something. But anyway, I came into contact with my buddy who, long story short, is a lawyer and hated his lawyer jobs. So he's looking for work as a lawyer. And right now he has a bunch of free time. He's painting Warhammer minis. And I said, dude, you're painting Warhammer minis? That's insane because that's literally my recent biggest obsession. And he's like, oh my God, that's great. I was not expecting that. I'm like, we should play. And he said, yeah, we should play. So I scheduled a game 2 weeks later because that's the only time I could get it done. And basically, long story short, we've been texting each other through it. And then right at the end, the day of, literally 1 hour before we were supposed to meet, he's like, hey man, woke up, went to a protest last night, woke up feeling sore throat, have a runny nose. I'm not feeling good. Sorry, man, not gonna happen today. And I'm like, okay, cool, man. It is what it is. Has he been a little bit flaky in the past? Yes. Am I surprised? No. Am I disappointed? Yes. Am I over it? Yes. I'm definitely over it. But it sucks like 1 hour before to not be able to play with some Warhammer. You know what? Well then guess we'll have to fight each other at Gen Con. What's up, Twiggy? Gen Con, man. Gen Con. Yeah, let's talk about that in a little bit. But before we get into that, let me just finish this story. So, yeah, basically, in my mind, and you guys tell me what you think about this. Um, he said it's not going to happen. And I said, okay, next time. But then, isn't it kind of his responsibility to be like, okay, let's reschedule? And then for him to kind of take charge and be like, let's reschedule for this day at this time, and for him to kind of make, if I were to do it again and be like, okay, what about this day, and then he flakes on me again, is it, who's to blame there? Is it me or him? It's kind of me to blame, if I go through all that rigmarole and try to set it up. It's the person who cancels to set up the new thing. Yeah, so zero effort on the other party to try to reschedule. And that kind of leaves me like, okay, well, I've got a busy life, I've got all kinds of stuff. And unless he puts the balls in his court, right? You guys all agree with me, it seems. Sounds like they just wanted to have fun with no work. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I mean, we all live busy lives. We can't just like pick up and go. Hold on, I got a call from a client. I'll be right back, boys. All right, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that. Yes, if he really wants it to happen, he'll put in the same effort you did to talk about organizing a time. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys agree with me. So ball's in his court. If he wants to reschedule, fine. But my wife brought a good point up. She's like, what if he reschedules and then he flakes again? Honestly, I don't even think he hasn't even attempted to reschedule. Um, maybe he is really sick, and it happened last minute. I don't know, man. You didn't glitch. I just had a phone call, so I'm on my phone doing this live chat, so I had to answer the phone call. But yeah, basically, that's the situation with that. I'm cool with it. I ended up going to my buddy Arnog's house. For those of you that are diehard on the channel and know who my buddy Arnog is, he's my best friend. He got me into Cyberpunk. And I went to his house. We played some Mansions of Madness. It was a successful day. We had fun. It was cool. I really wanted to play Warhammer. I literally had my entire army in the case, like ready to go. And I even posted on Discord saying, like, cue the sad music as I take my army out and put him back in the display. Da-na-na-na. But yeah, that's how it goes. So I'm glad you guys agree. Thank you so much for helping me in this situation and the positive reaffirmation that it is in my buddy's interest to reschedule and not mine. All right, so let's talk about Gen Con because the topic was brought up. It looks like Gen Con is going to be going back to having in person, like letting people back, and I think at less capacity. So that means that it's gonna be it's gonna be ridiculous. What's up, young bohemian? Good to see you. Those magnetized mugs looked sick. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad I did that too. But yeah, Gen Con is going back to in person. We got this whole mask mandate stuff going on. If you've been vaxxed, you don't got to wear a mask, but everywhere you go, people are still wearing a mask. That's all good. It's all fine. Um, Basically, let me tell you guys what the situation is on my end. On my end, I'm a very family person. I'm like a homebody in my personal life. If I have any free time, I'd rather spend it with my kid and my wife than over like most things, even gaming most of the time. And I'm very attached to my family. I mean, obviously, they're my family, but that also means that it's really, really, really difficult for me to get on a plane and fly to Indiana from California, from LA, and go to a like 3 night event at a convention. I Something about that is really awesome. Like I get to meet Artel Sorian, I get to meet some of you guys, I get to meet my patrons, I get to meet my YouTube peers. So that's all amazing. Like that's a dream come true for me to actually be able to meet you guys and talk and play some games, run some games, play some Warhammer with friends. It's like, I mean, there doesn't sound any better than that, in my opinion. But the problem is getting it on a plane and flying to Indiana, leaving my family for 3 days, having my wife watch my son without any help. Like, I'm not there to bathe him, I'm not there at night to help put him down in bed. He's probably going to be asking about me. He's 2.5 years old. So it's going to be really tough on my wife. And I won't be able to have a good time going to Gen Con thinking about all that. So there's no way I can go to Gen Con this year, especially with my son being 2.5. Hold on 1 second. Got another call, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Um, let's see here. You're a good man. I understand entirely. Thank you, JD. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's it. Pretty much. I won't be going to Gen Con this year because of that whole family situation. I hope you guys understand that, and it looks like most of you do, which is great. I really appreciate you guys. But I made a deal with my wife. If there's anything local that happens in LA, if like Comic Con or I don't know what the local ones are, to be honest with you. I'll have to take a look and research that. But if there's anything local, I'll definitely go to that. Especially if I could just pop in, say hi to everybody, play a couple games, pop out, go home the same day. That's even better. Or, maybe one night away from the family is not too big of a deal. Especially if I'm local, something happens, I could just get in my car and head home, and it's no big deal. So if there's anything local, I'm down. Gen Con, does that mean I'll never go to Gen Con? Absolutely not. I'll go to Gen Con one of these days, especially if my son is old enough to attend. Jesus Christ. Hold on 1 second. I know. This is literally it. Like, I can't do a live stream without people blowing up my phone. You guys are going to come on a little journey with me. Damn it. Yeah. So, like I said, if that happens locally, then I'm down. I'll be there. Give me 1 second, my dudes. Hey, Charlie. Allá las pipas y todo. La compañía va a venir para bajar todos. Entonces déjalo como está. Sí, el plano vamos a quitar. Pero no preocupes para bajar todos. That's right. Your boy is trilingual. All right. Hopefully we'll be uninterrupted now. All right. Anyway, so as I was saying, that's that with the local thing, the local circuit. If something happens, I'll be there. And I can't wait to meet you guys, especially if you're local. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, let's see. We got a question here from Maxfield Calloway. Hello, John. Do you sometimes have to take breaks during sessions? I had to last session for like 15 minutes. Excuse me, because I didn't know how to get the two characters together. After a break, I found solutions. Yeah, of course. You got to take a break within your session. Um, because I have more experience and I've been doing it for a while, I don't usually need to do that because I kind of figure it out. And also I don't play longer than 2 or 3 hour sessions just because of my life. Like it doesn't permit for me to play longer sessions than that. And because of that, sometimes we don't even have a break. You know, if it's a 2 hour session, there's no need for a break. The 2 hours is enough. We get through it, we pile through, especially since I quit smoking cigarettes a long time ago. I don't need a cigarette break or a bathroom break or anything like that. But if it occurs, it occurs. If I need some time to think about a plot device, I'll usually just tell the I'll sometimes put the players the characters in a social environment where they can talk amongst themselves, and I'll even say like, "Hey, talk amongst yourselves, try to figure out what the plan is for something. I got to do something real quick." So that's not taking away any game time, and actually they're role playing their characters, they're formulating a plan while I'm trying to figure out something that is important to the game. So there's that. But yeah, taking a little break is no big deal. That's just a part of how you play the game, in my opinion. They're doing Gen Con online and mini Gen Con day game stores. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Anybody that wants to go to a convention this year is pretty nuts, man. You got to be diehard. Just think about how crazy people are going to be. They've been pent up for a year. They're going to be everyone's going to be plastered drunk. Everybody's going to be like it's going to be too crowded. I hate crowded spaces. I don't like even the surrounding area. People that don't have tickets, they're just going to be around area and all over the place. It's going to be fucking wild. So if you're a diehard Gen Con person, then I get it. Do your thing. But I like the a different kind of experience. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All his friends are calling to rearrange times now. Gen Con is very family friendly, though. You and your family might have a better time when the kiddo's a few years older to also maximize the fun. Yeah, Bronx, good to see you, by the way. Yeah, definitely. When my son is old enough, I'm gonna take him to as many conventions and stuff as I can. That's actually a win-win for everybody. The win-win is I get to spend time with my kid, I get to give my wife a break from the kid, and I get to go do my nerd shit. So whenever my son is old enough, I can't wait for that, you know? And he of course he's going to be down. Even if you're not into the nerd culture, when you're a kid and your dad is like, "Hey, we're going on a trip," and it revolves around games, I mean, what more do you need? There's going to be something that my son will be able to play. And especially if he has a buddy with him, I'll be like, yeah, bring your buddy with you. And I'll go, we'll make a thing of it. That's actually a beautiful thing. I can't wait for something like that. That's something that I'm really, really looking forward to is my son being old enough to participate in the hobbies, to have his own hobbies, to accompany me and be my cameraman or whatever I need him to be. That's actually really cool. Just thinking about it. So I can't wait for that. Buenos dias, hermano. Good to see you, Eric. Sins Arcade. Salute, Chumba. How's the dark future from the Delamain? It's great, man. It's a dark present. Everything is all good. It's not so dark. People are confused. Should they wear masks? Shouldn't they wear masks? What's going on? Am I protected? Am I not protected? But you know what? When have we ever had a straight answer with anything? That's just life. By the way, I'm getting into Age of Sigmar. Yeah, JD, that's crazy. I heard that you are. Congrats on getting off cigarettes. Tough to do. Oh yeah, man. I'm so glad I got off of cigarettes. That addiction to cigarettes is so powerful, man. There's so many things about it that are wrong, and I'm so glad I got off of it. But yeah, Age of Sigmar looks cool too. It's just I haven't even played Warhammer to get into Age of Sigmar, you know? What are some common mistakes during mysteries to avoid? Common mistakes are playing your hand too strong and giving away clues like too easily. Then the players feel like it's not that easy. It's not that hard to solve the mystery. I have that problem all the time. I've had that issue. And it's kind of like because the alternative mistake, which is also a very common mistake, is you make the clues too convoluted and hard to uncover. So basically, there it's like a spectrum. It can be too easy and they feel like it's not a challenge, or it's too difficult and they're like, how the hell were we supposed to know to like do that? You know what I mean? So it's that's the tough part about mysteries, but if you do it right, it's great. It's really good. So I would just try to find a happy balance in between. Anything else with mysteries? Yeah, mysteries can also feel like they're dragging on sometimes where they're like, all right, man, can we just fucking move on? But that's when you introduce combat. That's when you introduce other cyberpunk elements or elements within your tabletop RPG that are fun and like social interactions and stuff like that. And that breaks up the monotony of trying to figure out the mystery. So that's my advice to you. Since Arcade, I've been running games for decades, but I wouldn't run during a con. Yeah, the thing is, I'm not actually interested in running any one shot campaigns during a convention, other than for the reason to give my supporters a chance to play in person. But I think one shots are pretty boring. It takes away a lot of if you don't care if your character dies and you don't care what happens in the story and there is no progression and you're not working towards something, it's kind of boring. You just have like one big ass 4 to 5 hour session, which is a large chunk of your time. And I could think of like 1,000 other things that I'd rather do in that 4 or 5 hours than play a one shot adventure. But yeah, so I'm kind of bummed out that that's the way it is, and I wouldn't be interested in running a one shot at a convention. But my conscience would tell me, like, dude, if a bunch of your patrons are there and supporters from YouTube and like if Mike and Cody and Jay Gray and James are like, hey, you want to run a one shot for us? What am I gonna say? Am I gonna say fucking no? That's retarded. I shouldn't have said that word. I'm sorry. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense to do that. And basically, I would have to run a prolonged campaign for me to have any fun. I don't have fun with one shot campaigns. That's a game changer, homie. Love it. That's good parenting. Tabletop gaming helps with brain development and helps build critical thinking skills. Yeah, I'm hoping that's what will happen. I'm hoping that my son gets into it and he enjoys it and it'll be something that we can share. You know, that's like the beautiful thing about having a spawn. Hey, first time catching this live. Yeah, Red Code, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Do you ever do simple missions in between long story missions? Have them have to do these? Yeah, yeah. Giving them simple objectives and the players come up with a way to solve you didn't think of. Yeah, actually, in between the main story plot and the main like story that's going on, I like to sprinkle in stuff that is within the player's life path. So, like for example, in our past Patreon game, the players were trying to solve this mystery. They found the dead bodies, and they were talking to people, and they were trying to figure out how to take care of the situation. And basically, what I had happened is one of the players' past came to haunt them, and the whole party got jumped by Arasaka goons because one of the players has a past in Arasaka that has to do with them and their story and stuff like that. And then like Arasaka just showed up out of nowhere. Now it's a simple combat encounter, but that basically is just like something that came and went. There is no like I did the players don't feel like they need to go and investigate it. They're just like, oh great, that's another thing we just have to worry about because now Arasaka is like after one of our party members, then we're collateral damage, so we all have to worry about that now. So that's just like a simple little thing that you can add there. Also, another thing is something that my players will probably be encountering pretty soon. Hint, hint. Is if you want to solve something within your mystery or within the plot, and you need help with that. So you go to a source or a contact and you be like, hey, we need help, we need information. And that source and contact will be like, yeah, I'm happy to help you, but I got problem A and problem B right here. So if you can help me with either of these problems, then I'll be more than happy to help you. And that could be kill this guy, kidnap that guy, steal this car, deliver this package. Those are all simple missions. You do it, you get paid, you get information, and you get back on track with your story. A perfect example of that is The Mandalorian. If you guys have seen that on Disney Plus, he's like looking for a place for the baby Yoda, and he keeps coming up on these planets, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm happy to help you, but there's a big giant sand monster. If you kill the big giant sand monster, then we'll help you." Yeah, I'm happy to help you, but there's this lady that needs a safe passage to this other planet. If you can take her to that other planet with her baby, then fine, that's good too. So that's basically the simple missions that you can do. I love to intersperse simple missions and plot threads alongside the main campaign. Yep, just like me. I'm going to start my first GM game as a one shot from starter kit. I hope that would be some inspiration beginning of longer history. That's great. Happy gaming, dude. Yeah, so I'm down to do a one shot if it leads to a campaign. If we're gonna come back to the gaming table and play together, then that's fine. But if it's a bunch of strangers and me playing a one shot campaign, it's kind of boring in my opinion. So yeah, that's just my take on it. What's that? Say no to RTG? How do you? Ah, yes, the Cyber Ninjas. Thanks for that. I found subplots are often more popular than the main plot sometimes. What's been your experience? Yeah, unfortunately, that can happen too. And I say unfortunately because you do all that hard work to make this giant plot for the campaign. And then your players are like, oh no, these people are way cooler than whatever you had in mind. So that can be really cool. I mean, at the end of the day, you should just go with whatever your players find fun. And if it derails the story a little bit, that's fine. We'll put it on the tracks later on once they get tired of this. Let them get it out of their system, and explore the ideas and have fun with it. And basically, there is no time limit for our campaign. There's no time limit for anything. If our campaign feels like it's dragging along, then I'll just have to in the back end adjust some things and move some timelines ahead so we can resolve this. But I shouldn't ever feel like, dude, we got to get past this fucking thing so we can get back to the main plot. Because why are you going to fast forward the things that are fun for your players? Those are the things that your players are having fun with. So just let them have the fun, let them do the thing that is fun. And you will get back to the plot later. And maybe your plot is not strong enough. Maybe their connection to it is not strong enough. Maybe you need to add another element that tugs at them even harder and goes like, "Hey, I know you're having fun over there killing all those Maelstrom booster gangers, but don't forget Arasaka's trying to take over your brain. Get over here. They're coming at you." And then you do stuff like that and it gets your players back on track. If you like the information you're getting, don't forget to tap the like button. It helps immensely. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thanks for all the support. What do you mean, John? My character thinks that we're asshats should should pay for attacking us. I'm sorry. I don't know what you said there, Twiggy. Sometimes you have to say no to RTG. A good GM will fudge or fumble to the story always trumps role results. Yeah, that can happen. That can definitely happen. So what you're saying, John, is next session we're going to be doing some talking to some big heads and doing even more subplot missions to further along the main plot. I will neither confirm or deny that. Okay. First session of Red and using Foundry went great over the weekend. Thanks for your great tips. We ran Red Cargo as a test, and it will lead to perfect session 0. I'm glad to do it, Danny Lee, and I'm glad that you're enjoying Foundry. I'm glad to be helpful, and I'm happy that you guys are having a great game. And basically, all of you that are listening, if you want to know more about virtual tabletops, I will be starting a new series on my Patreon, a Patreon exclusive series, just like the campaign building series that I just released the final episode for. If you guys want to learn about virtual tabletops, I'll be doing a series on how I use them, how I set up my games, how I set up my campaigns, and just give you guys an idea on how I do things. It will be in the context of Foundry, but I'll also do stuff on Roll20 just because I know it's more accessible to everybody. And yeah, I'll give you guys ideas. There's also universal ideas that work on all virtual tabletops, so it doesn't matter whether it's Foundry. Oh, excuse me. Foundry or Roll20 or Astral or whatever. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Maxfield started a Mafia campaign recently. Do you think there are any problems that can occur or any fun ideas you thought of going to have them climb up to the top? Yeah, I mean, there's mafias all have their own structure already, so you can definitely piggyback off of that. It's all about respect, earning your place within the organization, going above and beyond the call of duty, being loyal. So these are all ideas that you can explore. There's going to be times where the boss wants them to do something. How well do they excel at that? And do they get the boss's attention? Then the boss is like, all right, these wise guys I can rely on, so why don't I give them more responsibility, and let's see if they can earn their place. And your players will move up and up the ladder, as you're saying, and hopefully get to be a threat to the boss someday and maybe take the boss's spot or be a good number two for the boss. It all depends on how you want to play things. But definitely, it's one of those things where you start from the bottom, go to the top, doing incrementally difficult jobs as time goes on, testing their loyalty, testing their mettle, testing their capabilities socially as well. So that's all good. Things that the asshats, the cyber ninjas, should pay. Well, definitely they should pay because they're attacking people, and it doesn't matter if they're after Hornet, they should definitely pay. Thank you, JD. I really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much for your patronage, man. I really, really appreciate it. I ran a one shot once where the players were level 12, facing a major demonic threat. Of course, they all died. The next session was a time skip around 500 years. The player's dead heroes were the catalyst to the formation of an adventure guild to hunt down demonic threats. That's actually really cool. I really like that idea. Playing because the one shot has a meaning, even though the characters died and the players probably didn't care that the characters died. There was a meaning, and the decisions they made within the one shot affected the future campaign. So really, while it seemed like it was a one shot, it was more like a session 0.5 because it's not a session 0, it's like a session 0.5 is what I would call that. Is you played a game and it led to the major campaign, like a prologue mission. So that's good. Maybe your character's motives would be that they need to pay, which should be tempered down by your fellow partners at the table with you. Is the juice worth the squeeze, Twiggy? No, I think that unanimously all the players agree that that Arasaka needs to pay for anything that they've done. They attacked them. It was dangerous. They tried to kill them, and they had no regard for their life. They didn't care. They were like, these people are collateral damage. We got to kill everybody. And that's exactly what they tried to do. So the players are like, hey, man, if you don't care about my life and you don't care about my party members, then you know what? When it's on site, if I see you on site, you're dead. And that's totally understandable. Jay Robinson, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Shards from CP2077 are great inspirations. Yep, I agree. I love it when the players go on a hunting quest, like in Kill Bill, working down the list for revenge. Do you feel the same? Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. A lot of plots that you can go with that. They are quite good. Some of the world building in CP2077 is done incredibly well. Yeah, somebody had mentioned that if you check out the player's guide, what's it called? What did they usually call them back in the day? The guides, the game guides. Well, there's like a walkthrough guide book for Cyberpunk 2077, and it's basically filled with inspiration for all kinds of missions and plot hooks and plot campaigns and stuff like that for 2077 that you can easily port over for Red, and taking the same ideas, changing things around. There's so many ideas like that in that book, so I highly recommend it. It's also good to play a cyberpunk game just to even if it's not Cyberpunk 2077, Shadowrun, Ruiner, Observer. There's so many Cyberpunk games out there. Playing all those games for inspiration is a really good idea too. Prima Strategy Guide, that's what it was called. Thank you, thank you, buddy. Me and my players tried Gloomhaven last week. A lot of arguing and frustration ensued. Jesus Christ, Gloomhaven is huge. Yeah, it's. I heard. I've never played it. I heard it's a lot of fun, and I heard it's one of those like giant games that last days and days and hours, and that kind of turns me off to it. But it also intrigues the shit out of me. If I could have a Gloomhaven game and then we just leave it on the table and then like come back to it a week later and it's exactly as it was a week ago, then that's cool. But if I have to set it up, take a picture, put it away, then bring it back and set it up again, it's gonna kind of drive me crazy. So yeah, that's fun. I'm going through CP 2077 one more time to collect some pictures, histories, etc. That's great. The original idea was to allow you to print out your 2077 character to put into red. They changed that regrettably. Damn, really? That would have been amazing if you could do that. It's a 20-pound board game? Really? Holy shit. That's fucking heavy, man. Normally I like to start a campaign with a one shot just to kick things off with action, showcase the mechanics and present the main thrust of the campaign, kind of like testing the waters. Yeah, that's fun. I mean, look, session zero is just so all of us can get together, have a chat, and try to figure out what we're looking for in this campaign, GM and players, and maybe do a little bit of playing at the end. If I usually like to end session zero with a little bit of gameplay because we're all already here, we might as well play, right? But to have like a precursor game that leads to the main plot, 0.5 is really good. Uh, I or like an easy mission that you can give your players. That's good too. 1,200 cards, dude. Jesus. I like running a setup one shot where people play as an instigators of the conflict and their actions shape the campaign. Yeah, that's fun. I like the idea also of what would be cool is if your players make these characters and they play the campaign as normal, but then you make these other characters, you make these pre-generated characters, and one day your players show up and they're ready to play, and then you pass them all characters and you go like, today you guys are playing these characters just today, this session. And then they go, okay. I mean, they got to be down with it as well. And you go like, okay, you're all part of a Militech security squad. You've been hired, contracted by another corporation, and your job is to do this, this, and this. And then they go do that job, they go do that thing, and then you go, okay, that's great. Then you go back to your regular players the next session, and then you tell them that like a Militech hit squad hit up this warehouse, and that's why the campaign is kind of in turmoil right now because of those people. And you get this situation where your players are like pit against themselves because they're playing as another group of characters, and they feel like their decisions with those characters involve your characters. I mean, it sounds convoluted, but that sounds like a lot of fun to do as well. Frosthaven is going to be even a bit more nuts. Oh, that's another. Uh, that's like the expansion, huh? Or another game. I just googled Gloomhaven and it says 1,500 cards and almost 22 pounds. Jesus Christ, that's giant. A one shot where the players are unknowingly play the bad guys, then right as the session ends, they get that oh shit moment. Then next session they play the real game and they fight themselves with two huge. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. So that's like one way to do it. Another way to do it is they just play those one shot characters just to see what it's like. And then their decisions will change the campaign. It'll change the plot points and stuff like that. All right, wife. You don't have to bully me on my live chat, wife. All right? We have bills to pay. What do you think I'm trying to do? That's why I'm over here. I'm trying to get people on that Patreon. Bruh, do you even lift Gloomhaven? Yeah, I mean that's actually no, I'm not buying Doge right now. I already bought it during the dip. Right now we're in a dip. Whenever you give us the okay. Basic. Ooh, we got $10. Why isn't it showing? There we go. Nihilus, of course, my husband. Hey, John, I may be exiled, but I'm still having fun. Why are you exiled? What happened? What do you mean exiled? I may be exiled, but I'm still having fun? What? You've been exiled, Nihilus? What's going on here? You exiled my character. Oh, from Amber. First of all, I didn't exile anybody, okay? Uh, I thought you meant like you couldn't talk in chat or something like that. That was what I was like, dude, did I time out Nihilus by accident? Um, and basically, Jay Robinson says, any word on the GM screen? Nope, no word, nothing that I know. Sorry, unfortunately. Yeah, so it wasn't me that exiled your character. It was the Amber Oasis. They exiled your character because you just spilled the beans and you were like, "Oh yeah, these Arasaka goons. Yeah, they're after me because I'm part of this secret confidential uh fucking spy shit 007 project where they come into my mind and take over my mind and I escaped." So yeah, that's why they're after me. And the Oasis is like, well, you're a threat to our existence. You're a threat to the peace here. So until we figure out what the fuck is going on, you need to get the hell out of here. You're out. Like you can't stay here. But if you had lied and said like, oh yeah, Arasaka, I don't know. That's weird. Why are they here? That's so weird that they're here, huh? Oh well. Anyway, I'm gonna go sleep in my comfy bed in the Oasis where it's safe. They would have been like, "Yeah, you go ahead. We're gonna try to figure out what's going on over here." But you had to go there and be all honest in a cyberpunk world, and then you're suffering the consequences. But the good news is, he told me he exiled you, dude. Wife is an instigator. All right, the is instigating right now. But the good news is, because of your honesty, the Amber Oasis is now like, oh, this is an honest person. They spilled the beans with us, so they can be trusted. They already did an amazing thing for us, so that's great. We can trust them now. Let's have them leave the Oasis for now while we figure things out. But there's always going to be a place for them, especially after we figure things out. All right. Sin Arcade, thank you so much for the $10. I really, really appreciate it. I can help you gain some money too. Thanks for the stream. Love chatting with a fellow TTRPG vet. Love helping others out here and on Discord. Salute! Thank you so much, Sin. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. I slept in Talos' truck, which wasn't that bad. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. You rolled well on your resist torture and got a good night's sleep. You didn't incur any negatives. So, congratulations. All right. Everything worked out. And now you're sleeping in a top hotel in central Dallas, which is a corporate zone. And everything's good. All right. So, it all worked out in the end. All right. Yeah, it sucks that you got exiled from the Oasis, but it's just temporary until they figure out whether you're safe enough to come back and they figure out why Arasaka's still around. All right. You'll like the next journal. Good. By the way, guys, I've been awarding 20 to 25 IP to my players for writing a journal on our last session. It doesn't have to be crazy. It could be bullet points. It can be two paragraphs. I tell them like 2 pages max, please, for the love of God. No, don't do more than 2 pages. It's too much reading for me. I can't do it. And they've been obliging me by doing like 1 page, 1.5 at most. And it's really good. It gives you a lot of insight on how you're running the game and where their mind is at and how they think about things. And it's entertaining. So, and they get to win some improvement points. So that's good. You're most welcome. You've got a great platform and keep it wholesome enough that it allows new people to learn in a healthy space. I'm glad to do that, man. I'm glad to do it. Like I said from the beginning, I've always wanted to make this community a positive one. I realized that I came into this community where there was already communities out there, but there wasn't a lot of content creators. And I saw an opportunity where I'm like, hey, I could be one of the first content creators to like actually make a lot of content and make it their focus. And I can start a community around it. So why don't I have some core principles around the community that I want to make? And that's where I'll go with it. And hopefully, if I do things right, it'll remain that way and it won't be a toxic environment. New people can get into the game, new people can ask questions without feeling stupid, and we can all have fun. And basically, I feel like I've succeeded in that. And anytime somebody tries to ruin that, I kick them out. I get them out. They're a cancerous sore that needs to get out. They're poison. They're toxic. Toxicity is not allowed in the community. As far as if I'm in control of it, it's not allowed. RTG has said they don't allow it either. So that's why we have a good relationship with each other, and that's why our community keeps growing because of people like you and because of our core principles. So I will continue to do that, and I will continue to be as positive as possible. Oh, by the way, John, do you hear about high fill? What is that high fill? I saw that. What is that high fill thing? Explain it to me. Maxfield Calloway, intertwining campaigns in question mark. In one campaign, you realize your store got robbed. In another campaign, you play the robbers. Something like Pulp Fiction. Thanks, John, for being awesome. You're awesome, dude. Yeah, that's fun. Hi, Phil Swift here for the power of flex tape. Got him. Oh, yeah, you got me. You got me. Memes aside, flex tape looks like it's actually a really good product. Love you, Nihilist. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the 10 eddies. I love you, dude. I'll see you on Wednesday for our game. It's okay, Twiggy. You're a dork, and I love it. I'm a dork, and we'll be dorks together. Which, by the way, is it true that a dork is actually a whale's penis? Is that what that is? I heard that somewhere. I don't know if that was one of those like those things that people just say in high school, but it's not actually true. But anyway, I digress. What's up, Punk Generator? Good to see you. Yeah, that's what I heard, JD. I heard that that's what a dork means. But anyway, um, we just had in our Patreon game, we introduced a new player. We now have 6 players, which is the absolute max that I'll ever take. 6 players is so many players. And I originally wanted to split the party. I was like, okay, all 6 of them can interact with each other at once, but then I'm gonna split them into 2 groups of 3. But the dynamic with the party actually works out really well, especially since all of them are playing a different role, and that kind of intrigues me. And then we played together, and I felt like, you know what, this is kind of doable. We haven't done combat yet, so that's the real test. But basically, it seemed like it could be doable. So I'm not too worried about it yet. Like I said, combat will be the main factor on how to figure things out. But the fact that we have a rocker boy, med tech, rocker boy, med tech, regular tech, a nomad, a solo, and a corporate or an exec, that's fun. That's a fun group. Okay. They all have their job, they all have the things that they're good at, and it's a very fun group. So I'm giving it a chance. I'm letting it breathe, and I'm not splitting the party right now. And I'm really exploring this. I'm having fun exploring this whole thing of like a corporate being a part of the party. And I really want to do whatever I can to make it work. And so far, it's worked, and so far, the players don't trust the corporate, which is understandable. But then I am also making sure that the corporate feels like they're still a part of the party and having fun and doing their thing. So I think I need to have like a private conversation with that player and try to work some logistics out where I'm like, hey, you have creative freedom to do all these things, because I want you to have a good time and I want you to bring an element to the game that all the other players that they don't really get this advantage, but you get it because nobody trusts you and it's kind of like 5 against 1. So I want to give you like a little bit of an opportunity to have another aspect to this. So there's that. Duct tape is already flex tape. The interwoven layers allow the tape to remain flexible and allow it to handle multiple session stresses. Yeah, but I mean, could you make a boat out of duct tape? I don't know. And yes, you did use a proper definition of dork. All right, there we go. I guess I was right. I knew I should have signed up for the Patreon game sooner. It's all good, man. The Patreon's still there. We could do another group at some time and we could break things up in the future. So it's all good. It's never too late. Well, we know the exec is going to be chicken shit and hide during combat. So that's only 5 for combat. You're forgetting that the chicken shit corporate has a team member that is his personal assistant, and I accidentally made her like 6 feet, 8, like 7 feet tall in our virtual tabletop, and everyone's like, "Oh no, no, that's canon. It's she's tall. Okay, we're gonna make sure she's tall." And I'm like, "All right, fine, whatever. You guys want her to be tall, I'm with it." So she's going to be the beat stick while he goes around doing other things. And I have plans for him. I have plans for that corporate. Actually, I should just reveal them now because I think it would be helpful for you guys. So let's say you make a character that's not combat heavy and doesn't have the ability to like do the cool things that solos and all the other players can do. There is something in Cyberpunk Red, and I'm sure you guys know about this, and they're called complementary skill checks. This is an idea where if a if you want to use two different skills to solve something, you use one skill, you if you pass it, you'll get like a +1 or a +2 bonus for the other skill, right? That's what a complementary skill check is. I had an idea where a player during their combat turn can use some of their skills to give the other players an advantage. So, like, there is a skill called tactics, and in the skill description, it says this person uses this skill for large scale battles and moving like tanks and submarines and forces on a battlefield. But you can also bring that down to a micro level and be like, okay, they are using their tactics skill to move things to give the other players an advantage. So they look around the battlefield, they realize like what the advantages are, what the disadvantages are, and then they let the other players know like that guy's leg is broken, that light, if you shoot that light out, then they're not going to be able to see, or blah blah blah. These are bad examples, but basically you give a tactical overview of the battlefield, and I will allow that player to give everybody on their team a +1 or a +2 to hit with a firearm or hand-to-hand combat, just depending on what they do. And maybe they don't use a tactics, maybe they use a different kind of skill, and if they pass it with flying colors, I'll give a +1, +2, +3, depending on what they did. So those are my plans for the corporate. Even though he's not good at combat, he's going to be good at all the other things that have to do with combat. 6 is a big group. 4 is my butter zone. 5, I'm pressed. Yeah, I'm the exact same way. 5 is doable. It's not too bad. I can handle it. 4 is the sweet spot with every. I mean, that's like generally the sweet spot. 6 is my absolute maximum, and even with 6, I'm trying to figure out ways to break it up. So it I'm still it's in the testing phase. The 6 of them together worked out a little bit. Like I said, combat we'll have to figure things out, and so encounters we'll have to figure things out. I did feel like our rocker boy, who is a rocker boy, his personality is supposed to be like up in like front and center, but the player himself has a little bit of social anxiety, which is understandable, and is a little bit shy. So it's hard for me to tell whether I left them in the dark and didn't pay attention to their character enough because we're playing with 6 players, or if that's where they're content to be. They're okay with being there. Or if they're not okay with being there, but they're not good at vocalizing it and letting people know, like, yeah, I feel a little bit anxious, social anxiety, I'm shy, and I don't want to pipe up because everybody sounds like they're having fun, and I don't want to be the guy to be like, hey, what about me? So I have to juggle all those ideas in my head. And I have to make sure that I pay attention to that player. So I've planned things for that player to go through next session to make sure that at least I'm focusing on them when the time comes. That sounds like a really fun group. You have a lot of story options with that troop. Yep, definitely. It is a great group. I'm having a great time with the Patreon folks. Are you going to be uploading any gameplay to YouTube of any of your games? Right now, it's okay. So this is basically what's going on. My Patreon games are not recorded. They're personal games. They're not out there for anybody to watch. And the reason I'm not recording them and releasing them out to the public is because the Patreon folks, they didn't sign up to perform and be a part of my channel or to have to put on a show or anything like that. I just want them to be able to come, no pressure, play the game, have fun, not worry about comments or doing a good job or any of that stuff. I don't have to do any advertisement. I don't have to talk to the audience. There is no audience, it's just us. And that is, there's something pure about that, you know, when you play that kind of game. And I want to make sure that my Patreon folks, to show my gratitude towards them, is that they enjoy our session without having to deal with any of the YouTube creator bullshit that comes along with it. You know what I mean? And but if they want to record the game on their own and like listen to it, I don't care about that either. They can do that too. But I'm not going to force them to perform. You know, they've already done enough by showing their appreciation and being a part of my Patreon. So I want to give back and make sure I can give them a fun game. So that's not going to happen. The other thing is, I kind of spoke about it last on live chat, but the wise guys and I have kind of hit a little bit of an obstacle socially with our group. One of them has left the group, and it was a little bit ugly. I don't want to get too into it because out of respect for the group. But basically, that's on pause until we try to figure out what the hell's going on with that. It's normal shit for a group to go through issues. Um, and it's normal for people to leave the group even on good terms. You know what I mean? Good or bad terms, it doesn't matter. And out of respect for the group, I'm not going to go too into it and talk about specifics. But basically, we are on pause right now until we try to figure out what we're going to do. And a lot of the figuring out is coming from my end of figuring whether I want to continue with this group the way it is, if I need to change things, if I need to scrap the whole thing. It's a really tumultuous time as far as that goes. So I'm sorry that that answer is what it is, but I'm not going to be having any live gameplay sessions anytime soon until I try to figure those things out. All right. We just have to learn to communicate and not talk over people. Well, it's hard to do that with six people. You know, that's what makes it difficult. Even when you're not trying to be someone that talks over somebody, it's six people. We all want to play. We all want to have time, and there's only one mic. If you think about it, one person can talk at a time in an online setting. In a If we're all here in person, it's a little bit easier to talk as a group, but on the mic, it's kind of like, hey, I'm the one talking now. When I'm done, then the rest of you can talk. So that's what makes it a little different. Maybe they know their resources. Yes, MythBusters made a duct tape boat, if I remember correctly. That's cool. Proved you can make a boat out of duct tape. Well, there you go. Then forget it. Flex tape is a scam. My point has already been proven. Maxfield, in my opinion, I'm loving Theater of the Mind. I had to do Theater of the Mind after losing my minis. I actually might prefer it in combat and roleplay. It's fast and easy, and combat goes even faster, which I want. I think everybody should exercise every tool in their arsenal. You should do Theater of the Mind when it's appropriate. You should do combat encounters on a battle map when it's appropriate. But the last thing you want to do is stop your game and have to look for a battle map, or stop your game and have to write down notes for what to do and stuff like that. You want to keep the game moving as much as you can and only taking breaks in emergency situations where you literally are stumped and you don't know what to do. So that's why theater of the mind combat is really good. And I agree with you. It can be fun. It can be actually sometimes it can be more fun than a battle map because a battle map has a finite amount of information. And I actually made a video about it, theater of the mind versus battle maps. And I go into it more in depth. But the idea is a battle map has a finite amount of information. It's what you see is what you get. Theater of the mind is open to interpretation, and you can change things on the fly and adjust to how people feel. It can get a little bit confusing, especially with 6 players. It's going to be pretty nuts. Like, there's 6 of you, there's 6 of them, there's 12 people on the board. Actually, 13 with the assistant. So 13 people, theater of the mind. It's going to be a little bit hard to keep track of everything, but it can still be done. It's possible, and there's a way to do it easily with your players' help. So it's all good. Let's see here. Bronx Smash. I had to get the computer that could run the VTT. I could load into servers, but couldn't view the map, and it would just give me all kinds of errors. Yeah, that's the other bummer about Foundry is Roll20 is such old basic code that it runs on everybody's machine and you don't have to worry about it. Foundry, on the other hand, is more modern and it's also in beta, so it's not like fully released and optimized. So on some browsers and some computers, it just runs like dog shit. I've run into that problem and I greatly regret it. I don't know what to do, to be honest, in that situation. I'm not going to go back to Roll20, and that's the problem. So until I find some kind of workaround or solution, it is what it is for now, unfortunately. And if any of my patrons feel like they want their money back because they can't play in my Patreon games, I'll gladly give you your money back. It's all good. I understand. In games I'm in, tactics is used a lot for scoping out places to see what the best entry would be with the current info we have. That's great. I love it. I'm an amateur GM, so combat usually goes slowly, which I don't want, and I also think many other GMs might have the same problem. Theater of the mind, along with other tactics, make it go faster. There's a way for you to go quickly as a GM, especially with the virtual tabletop doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And you get used to it. You understand how the game works. You understand the mechanics, and you get faster with it. Just like anything, any other game or anything out there, the more proficient you are with it, the faster you are, and the less time it takes for you to do basic things. So I feel like I'm that way with Cyberpunk. I'm really enjoying the Patreon games. Give it time, and us players will work it out and learn when to talk, let each other's talk. While our characters may not trust the exec, it's in character. Yeah, that's great. You guys have done a really good job of separating players and characters, and and making sure that meta knowledge doesn't get in the way. And that's basically the best way to play it. But I also want to make sure that that everybody has a good time and that nobody feels left out and nobody feels like they're not living the fantasy of their game, of their cyberpunk red fantasy that they want to play, what they envision for their character and their game. I want to make sure that they can all do that. So, and I know firsthand experience what it feels like to feel left out and to feel like you're not living your fantasy in a tabletop RPG. So I'm basically gonna hope that I don't make those same mistakes. Still worth contacting you for the Legend Keeper link and making a character to keep the bench warm. Yeah, of course. If you want access to the Legend Keeper, it's open to all my patrons, no problem. Even people that are not my patrons, I've given them access to it. So if you want to just take a look at it and see what I've done, for sure, I'll give you access, dude. No problem. And you can make a bench warmer character, and you can hop into our games every now and then if you are available. We play Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Okay, so if you can make that time, and maybe one of the players bowed out, or you want to play an NPC or something, let me know. I guess it wouldn't be an NPC if you're playing it, right? You can just talk to them, John. If you feel like they were left behind, just communicate. Yeah, I know. Remember, this is their first time playing with the 6 players, and I've retained all the knowledge that I can from the group. And if there's any more knowledge that I need, I'll look for it. So it's all good. It's like I told Nihilus after last session, there was a lot of things I wanted to talk about, but my social anxiety made me shut up. Yeah, social anxiety is a normal thing, and we all feel it. And even though I'm, I have confidence, especially when we're playing, and I'm not afraid. It seems like I'm not afraid. I have a lot of social anxiety. I'm really faking it to make it. That's what it's all about. I'm pretending that I don't have social anxiety. And what that does is it tricks my brain into thinking that I don't have social anxiety. But really, I'm just suppressing it, holding the door, and keeping that social anxiety behind the door as I go, like, oh, yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm totally fine. There isn't this big social anxiety monster behind this door. Nothing to see here. Keep going along your way. And that's basically how I go along with life. So it's not about eliminating social anxiety. It's about suppressing it and taking risks and just, putting yourself out there. Because, like I said in our game, the fact is, this is a fact. Even though we have social anxiety, we're all strangers. We don't really know each other that well. We're getting to know each other. The fact is, we all have one thing in common, and it's a big thing. We all love Cyberpunk Red. So I already have more in common with all of you that like Cyberpunk Red than 90% of the world out there, including my friends and family that are not into Cyberpunk Red. They don't understand my obsession. You guys understand my obsession because you're also obsessed. So we have something in common there that other people do not have. And that means something. So just take that into account when you have this social anxiety. It's like, I don't know these people. I don't know what they feel or how they think. But you do know one thing. We all love Cyberpunk Red, and Cyberpunk Red is your favorite game. So, you know, I mean, what more do you need than that, right? So yeah, that's what I always tell myself. Talon may have some quips and such, but that's because it's in his character. Out of character, it can be hard for me to voice things. I know it may sound weird, but socialization is hard. It really is, man. And it's all good. I love your character and I love the way you play him. When players make characters that can't or don't get to contribute often to what happens in game, do you have them tweak their characters or do you contrive situations in which they can contribute? The latter. I make sure that I create a situation where their character can shine and that their character can interact with and do the things that they're good at because they might not. I don't want them to change anything about their character. They made their character exactly the way it is for a reason, and for me to tell them to change their character would have to be a. It would have to be a really good reason for me to do that. I would rather go like, okay, you are a tech. Is that what you're good at? Okay, well, let me give you something to fix, and let me make sure that if the thing that you fix succeeds, then it's a big deal. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, thank God you were here to do this because we really, really, really needed a tech in this situation. And now you're respected among all of us and will do whatever you need to do. And then the rest of the party can be like, good job, dude. Look what you did. You did it, dude. You helped all of us out. You helped them out. You helped us out. You helped yourself out. This is amazing. And that's all because I have created that scenario for you. Now, if I create the scenario and they fail, it's still okay because it's like you got to do the things that you wanted to do, but it just didn't work out 100% the way it was. At least I still paid attention to you and I still made a situation where, you know, if you failed, it's just because of the luck of the dice and not because you made the wrong character. All right. So yeah, that's how I do it. How would you make a rocker boy slash media multi-class? You can make them any way you want as long as they have those classes. So basically, if you want a good example of a rocker boy media, it would be Joe Rogan. And I know people are rolling their eyes out there when I say that. I'm not obsessed with Joe Rogan. I like him. I listen to his podcast. I have for some time. I think he's taught me a lot of great lessons, but this obsession with him and DMT and kettlebells and all that stuff, I don't subscribe to any of that stuff. I think it's kind of weird and awkward to have that kind of obsession with somebody. But to each their own, that's fine. But he's a perfect example of a media rocker boy. His rocker boy life, he goes out on tour, he has a message through his comedy, and it should be taken with a grain of salt because it's comedy, obviously. But you can't avoid the topics that he's touching on and talking about. Even though he's joking about them, it still triggers something in people where they're actually thinking about the subject. So that's his rocker boy aspect. His media aspect is he has a giant audience that he reaches on his own platform or a platform that he's a part of. And that's something that a performer doesn't inherently do. They have an audience, they have people that, worship them and follow them, but they are not trying to reach them en masse, right? The way that Joe Rogan does. So, because he has all these contacts and all these people and all these performances that he does all over the place with his podcast, because of his reach is a big thing. That's a very important word, reach. Because of his reach, he has access to information that people don't usually have access to. And that's where a media comes in with their rumors. So people are volunteering information to Joe Rogan. For example, he'll have somebody on that says, "Yeah, I'm a microbiologist, and I believe that COVID was built in a lab. All evidence points to that it was built in a lab." That's a rumor from a media to a media, and that's from a source that is credited, right? They're a microbiologist at Harvard or whatever. So that's information that was volunteered to Joe Rogan that he didn't go around looking for. That's what a rumor is. And that if he decided to, he can take all this information and make a case and use that as damning evidence, but he's not interested in that. So he doesn't do the second half of what a media is, which is taking that evidence and using it to create action. Instead, he just discusses the topics and that's it, and he's content with just the discussion of it. So you want to basically, when you're making a rocker boy media multi-class, you want to make sure you touch on all those aspects. They entertain, they inspire, but they also inform and they reach. That entertainment and inspiration is what a rocker boy is. Inspire and reach is what a media is. You put all four of those aspects together and you got your multi-class right there. I think it's hard not to talk over people on Discord where you can't see other people's faces for sure. Half the time on Discord, all I say is, "Oh, sorry, you go first." Yeah, and that's okay. That's going to happen. It's also kind of on the game master to be like, "All right, young bohemian, your character notices blah blah blah. What do you do?" So I'm telling everybody shut up. It's young bohemian's chance to talk. But then there's also situations where it's like I'm opening the floor to anybody that wants to talk. All right. You can make your character however you want. Maybe they're a rocker boy who's secretly a media getting info, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My mom bought me a new used laptop so I can play now. Okay, that's great. Good to hear it. Is it bad for the first person that comes to mind as an example of a rocker media multiclass is Alex Jones? Yeah, he's a great example. I think he's entertaining. I obviously think he's crazy and a lunatic, but I think that's part of what's entertaining about him. I don't know. I guess I like the crazies. I had to have one of my players use his kid's tablet for Foundry because his Chromebook is old and won't update Chrome anymore. Wow, dude. That's nuts. I'm glad it worked out, though. Planned obsolescence. Now that's cyberpunk. Yeah. Agree. Foundry VTT might be a problem on older computers. My old laptop is boiling during sessions having to use my PC. Yeah, man. That's the real bummer with it. I don't want to step on anybody's toes or overload the party, so I'm more than happy to wait till it's convenient. The game sounds incredibly fun. Great plot. Glad to hear that you're having fun, though, man. Fake it to make it when talking in character. If you notice, I stutter a lot when I'm talking out of character. It's just a trick in pretending you're someone else. Yeah, that's totally fine, man. We all do that stuff. Don't worry, I know I can make it however I want, but I have trouble with coming up with ideas for that multi-class. They seem very different to me. That's funny that you say that because a lot of the criticism for Cyberpunk 2020 was that the Rocker Boy and the media were too similar, and that's why in Red they kind of made them a little bit more individualistic. Individualist? Individual. Is that a word? Individualistic. Last time I didn't know if it was a word and it ended up being a word. I think it's a word. Individualistic is a word, I think. If you want another voice for an NPC, give me a call. Sounds good, punk. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. The abilities for media and Rocker Boy match well, but the flavor doesn't. Exactly. One of us. Caleb Taylor, how do I make Cyberpunk Red more cyberpunk? It feels like Fallout sometimes. Yeah, that's a good question. There's something that in the Artel Sorian offices that they talked about a lot, and that is called everyday cyberpunk. And that's basically the idea that what is a cyberpunk world like to live in? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So I would tell you that once you create your campaign and you have every session set up, revisit the setting that your players are in and make sure you add cyberpunk elements. My go-to cyberpunk element that reminds people that they're in a cyberpunk world is you see someone that's completely covered in chrome, head to toe. That reminds you you're in cyberpunk. The bartender has a cyber eye. The cops are riding around on hover bikes, and they pull out a briefcase. They open the briefcase, and out comes this cyber dog that like assembles itself, and it's a fully cybernetic, robotic, autonomous dog. That's their K9 unit. AV4s and stuff like that. So those are all aspects of cyberpunk that remind people like, oh yeah, we're in that kind of world. So because it's so similar to our world, we kind of forget those details, but I think those details are really important. Um, like another one is you go to a hotel, you're looking for room 25B, right? You get to the door and it says 25B, but it's a flickering hologram. So, like, it hasn't been maintained. So the hologram is flickering. Hold on 1 second, my dude. I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. All right. Really cool how you try to make people feel at ease. I'm glad to do it, Neko. I've been there, man. And I've been there when there's been like shitty people that are not supportive and toxic, and it's turned me off from whatever that was, a hobby or a game. And I vowed to like make sure that that never happens with anybody else. So I'm always the first one to invite people over to the table too if they want to watch or listen. It's totally cool with me. Well, looks like I'm back. Car battery died, so working from home it is. Damn, I'm sorry, Nihilist. New battery, or do you need a jump? Stephen Odinson says, Caleb, don't forget you can travel outside Night City. So if you want that OG vibe, then maybe hit up some places that are growing. Yeah, definitely try out new places. Night City's a great spot, but you got to try out some new places too. Joe Rogan has done more for the UFO community than anyone in history. Legendary. Hell yeah, dude. I gotta go, Chumbata. See you later. Hope no Borgs come for you. Thanks, Maxfield. Me neither. I appreciate it. It is raining intensely in London right now. Dare I call it cyberpunk? Rain is a big cyberpunk setting too. Delineated individuality. Individualosity. No, that's not a word. Yeah, no problem, Caleb. Solution for being too nice as a GM. Here we go. Definitely had beast mode on for them, but want them to not feel like they are at Wiener Hut General when they should be at the Salty Spittoon. Yeah, Danny Lee. We actually talked about that last live session where it feels like you can't bring any negative consequence to some of your players because they bitch and complain and moan, and then you're like, oh, okay, well they didn't like it, and then you feel like you're a bad GM because they're not having fun because they're bitching and moaning. But really, we've realized that that's kind of on them. They're putting you in a position where it's not your fault. You know what I mean? You're just playing the game, you're running the game. The rules and the consequences to actions are just inherently a part of the game. And they want all the positive consequences, but they don't want any of the negative consequences. So, what does that lead you to do? That leads you to being a nice GM and making sure that they always have a parachute, that they always have some way to get out of a bad situation because you want to avoid criticism. I do it. I'm a victim of that all the time. I've done that myself and kick myself in the balls later about it. But it some of it is, I think it's okay to be a little bit nice sometimes. I don't think it's that bad. I know some of you grognard GMs are like, what the hell are you talking about, John? There is no nice in baseball or in tabletop gaming. Your characters die, they die, that's it. But I think there's a happy balance. There's definitely a spectrum of like you're too nice and you're too harsh, and the ends of the spectrums are not fun. This end of the spectrum is not fun for you and some of your players. This end of the spectrum is maybe fun for you, but not fun for your players because it's too hard. You got to find that in between where you make sure that you give them, and that's the art of it, right? That's the art of being a game master, is trying to juggle all these things at once and making sure you find a happy medium of not being too harsh, but being challenging, not being too easy, but making sure you throw them a bone every once in a while. So that's my advice to you. New battery for sure, corrosion on terminal, and it's starting to bulge a bit. Ooh. Individuality sounds like the name of a rapper's mixtape. Cyberpunk and snowflakes don't get along very well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about snowflakes. I mean, I get it, but I don't think someone's a snowflake just because they they get upset about something. But whatever. That's for another topic. All bad all the time leads to really cynical players. Yeah, exactly. And then you become that guy game master. You're the game master that always has a shitty, oppressive campaign that your players can't handle. We just need to go to the pinnacle cyberpunk world, idiocracy. We're pretty much there. All right, my dudes, that's it. We did an hour and a half. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Hoxton, you just came in time for me to leave. I'm so sorry. Um, and yeah, sorry I couldn't do this longer. But good news is next week we'll be here, same time, same place, around 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Tune in soon. James and I will be, James Hutt from Artel Serena and I will be starting our show. So I'm excited about that. We're recording tonight. And yeah, stay tuned for more content. You guys know how I do it. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Shout out to all my patrons. Shout out to all you supporters. Thank you for liking and subscribing and commenting and being a part of the community. Love you. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.